This is the Bill Squire Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Bill Squire Show, and I have a very special guest with me today, Journey Gunderson, who is the Executive Director of the National Comedy Center and Lucille Ball Desi Arnaz Museum in Jamestown, New York. Welcome, Journey.
Thank you for having me.
I am a very big fan of the National Comedy Center. I've been there 3 times. I tell everybody I can about it. I think it's one of the best museum experiences that I've ever had, and then 2020 happened and you guys had to shut down for a while, but you've come back strong and you've come back with a way of letting everybody come and experience this amazing, very interactive museum while still being safe.
That's right. It was something we took really seriously, and from day one of closing the turnstiles to visitors in March, we set forth revamping what is known by you and others to be one of the most interactive museums anywhere in the world right now, revamping that experience for the COVID era. You know, not just doing whatever the minimum guidelines are, but going a step up beyond that. And so we branded this system of health and safety protocols Laugh Safe, and worked directly with epidemiologists to make sure that we had every inch of the place covered. And part of Laugh Safe includes standard protocols like temperature checks of all staff and anyone who enters the building, including patrons, required masks, but it also includes a Laugh Safe kit, so everybody gets their own little disposable stylus, their sense of humor profile that you're familiar with, instead of going around your wrist, now is on a digital chip that is attached to a reel that you can put on your lapel or on your pants. It also has your own set of disposable headphones. And as you know, the floor plan here really lends itself to social distancing. And so we made a number of changes to the exhibits within so that people could have a touch-free, worry-free, safe, and fun experience.
Well, that's just amazing. And I appreciate it a lot because, like I said, I am a big fan of this museum. I'm a comedy nerd, and just going through the museum and experience everything and the interactivity that you have with the exhibits is like nothing I've ever experienced before. And it really does help you understand and also have a very good time while you're doing it. So you're learning, you're remembering things that maybe you forgot from a while ago, and you're also laughing a lot. I mean, it's such a good time going through the museum. And you guys are also doing the Lucille Ball Comedy Festival this year, has gone online, of course. So can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing this year for it?
Sure. So, and one last, closing thought on Laugh Safe. We had to see it in practice and make sure it was going well. And 99% of the visitors who have come through our doors since we reopened July 3rd have reported that they felt either very safe or safe and would recommend a visit to a family member or friend. And we've had a number of great quotes, just like you said, where people said, I didn't expect to be laughing for 4 hours straight in a museum. Thanks for being part of what helped me get laughing again in a very tough year. So we're happy to be here, open for people to come and visit.
Laughter has never been more important, and kind of reminding people that there have been other tough times in America, and you guys have that in there where there's, in the Blue Room, I think about the, Gilbert Gottfried telling jokes right after 9/11, and how people use humor as a coping mechanism when chips are down.
You're right. I'm glad you mentioned that. We do. We have an exhibit all about the concept of too soon. Of course, down on the lower level, the uncensored area of the museum, which is an interesting issue to navigate in comedy. When is it too soon, and when is it a source of healing? When are you taking back power in the situation? We also have an exhibit on the main floor all about just the healing power of comedy and laughter itself. So, 2 of more than 50 exhibits here. And you asked about the virtual festival.
Yeah.
Yes. This is our 29th year of producing the Lucille Ball Comedy Festival in Jamestown. And so this year, of course, we went virtual. We had more than 30 artists participate and produced some of the best conversations on comedy and the craft that you can find anywhere. We've had a number of fantastic names join the festival lineup, from Jay Leno and Gilbert Gottfried to a great program that we just ran last night with Jimmy Fallon and Lin-Manuel Miranda of Hamilton fame interviewing Weird Al, because they both looked up to Weird Al, and I think it was Jimmy Fallon's first concert. So there's really something for everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. And all of these are available at comedycenter.org/festival or on your Facebook page, correct?
That's right. That's right. They're free to view, but we always remind people we're a nonprofit cultural institution and museum. So, we encourage donations if you're enjoying the program. But, there are dozens of programs, including one retrospective on the comedy legend and a founding advisory board member of ours, Carl Reiner. We have never before seen interview footage in our archives. And so we produced a program for the festival that includes one of my personal favorites, comedian Paula Poundstone, talking with Stephen J. Morrison, our executive producer of Exhibit Media, about Carl Reiner's legacy. So that is a program not to be missed. And the program, the whole festival, wraps up with a fantastic event featuring Deborah Messing, who many fans know from Will and Grace, did an I Love Lucy tribute episode that was nominated for an Emmy, and she's always looked up to Lucille Ball, and I will say bears a resemblance, and so that is a really fun program not to be missed.
That sounds awesome. I have been to the Lucille Museum as well. Big fan of that, and just a whole experience of going to Jamestown. It's a cute little town too, so it's a very nice. I always do it as an overnight trip because I like to drink. So I'll get there.
It goes great with comedy, a 2-drink minimum.
It does. So I'll go in, spend a few hours at the Comedy Center, then go over to the Lucy Museum. And she was such a mega star when it comes to comedy. But then when you look behind the scenes at all the things she did, it's really, really impressive what she did. Not just as a woman, but she did a lot of stuff for Latinos and just giving people a voice and showing like, hey, we can do this too.
I'm so glad that you share my appreciation for Lucille Ball and that you mentioned that, because sometimes now we have people coming to Jamestown because they love comedy. And there is something here across all genres and eras of the art form. So it's fun to see intergenerational play where a grandfather and grandson are laughing at two different things and then sharing a moment, showing each other what they think is funny. And then to have the Lucille Ball, Desi Arnaz legacy celebrated right here in Lucille Ball's hometown gives us a chance at that museum to tell the story of a woman who did say, as you pointed out, to CBS when they offered her, the career opportunity of a lifetime, her very own TV show. She said, I want my husband in real life, Desi Arnaz, a Cuban immigrant, to play my husband on the show, which was unheard of in terms of CBS executives expecting American audiences to embrace that and embrace them as a couple in 1950, before the show started in 51. So they took the show on the road vaudeville style and proved that American audiences would embrace them as a couple, and the rest is history. So much there in that legacy. Yeah,
it's wonderful. And then even just some of the technology that they created because they wanted to turn the show around faster or watch takes. You see all these different things that were developed because of the Lucy show, and then I Love Lucy.
Yes, most people, if they love I Love Lucy and enjoy laughing at the sitcom, don't necessarily realize that it revolutionized comedy and entertainment. They decided to produce the show themselves out of pocket so that they could remain on the West Coast, which at that time, all television was filmed on the East Coast. And within a year of that, almost all television programs, had moved out West. And so from that to Lucille Ball taking over the studio and becoming the first female head of a major Hollywood studio, and then overruling her all-male board of directors to greenlight twice the pilot of Star Trek. There's just so much behind the scenes people don't know. And we tell the same level of stories about comedy as a whole now here at the National Comedy Center, which was Lucille Ball's vision for her hometown. She said to Jamestown officials in the late 80s, I get it, you want to build a museum about me, but don't just celebrate me, celebrate all comedy, because no one's really done it, and it has never really gotten, on par level of respect with other art forms and the classical arts. And so here we are, we opened in 2018.
Yeah, and like I said, been there 3 times. Can't wait to make another trip back out there. Luckily, I get to still do some comedy in Cleveland area. I get to work with one of, I don't know if he's on the board, but I know he's done some stuff. Brian Regan is coming to town, and I get to work with him tomorrow, and I'm
Oh,
very
good.
excited about that. And he was part of the George Carlin retrospective that you guys did on George Carlin's birthday back in June, and I watched that whole thing, and it was fantastic. You guys do a really great job of putting together these interviews and getting the biggest names in comedy and some of the names that people might not know but know a lot about comedy, and you make everything very educational and very funny, and it's really really well done. And I just, as a comedy fan, uh you know, that place is like mecca to me, where I like going there again and again and again and showing it to new people and having that experience over and over again.
Wow. Well, it warms my heart to hear you say that because, again, we're a mission-based institution. You know, no one's in this for the money. Everybody's doing this for the right reasons. And that's how we raised $50 million to build this shrine to comedy, the Mecca, as you said.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you mentioned the Carlin program. For anyone who missed it, it's still available for viewing. You can go to comedycenter.org/festival to see the festival that's going on right now. And that puts you on our new online platform, Comedy Center, National Comedy Center Anywhere, that has some of our exhibit media now for the first time available online, which we did right at the start of, you know, the pandemic, just to continue the mission to tell the story of comedy. One of the recent programs we talked about was Gilbert Gottfried, and you said, you know, one of the things we do is bring people in who also know a lot about comedy. And so on a couple of occasions, we've brought in Penn Jillette, and
Yes.
his conversation with Gilbert Gottfried is another hilarious one not to be missed, but also that really pulls back the curtain on these comedic minds. I'll leave it at that, so it's not a spoiler, but
I can't wait to watch it. I'll probably watch it tonight. Well, thank you so much for spending some time with me here on the Bill Squire Show. People, you can go now to comedycenter.org and find out about how you can plan your trip. It's only 2 hours away from Cleveland. So if you're in, one of my listeners in the Cleveland area, Jamestown, New York is not very far away. You can do it in a day. I like to make a weekend of it because I like to really go deep, but it's a lot of fun. So thank you very much, Journey.
Yeah, and if you live in Cleveland and you're 2 hours from one of Time Magazine's World's Greatest Places, or what USA Today just named the best new museum in the country, you've got to ask yourself, what else do you have going on? So we'll see you here in Jamestown, and our doors are open to you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of The Bill Squire Show. That was disgusting, but I needed it.
See, here I was thinking that was just to, you know, clear everything out before you started. But no, that's how you start.
That's how I'm going to start this week.
It's your show.
It is my show, and I'm going to start it that way because I can.
Okay.
My guest today, I got a couple, but right off the bat, we got Poundcake.
Hey!
From the Alan Cox Show. Phone screener extraordinaire. And the snobbiest, most chief petty officer. I mean, you got so many titles.
Hey, it's a tough job, but someone's got to do it.
Well, you do it well. You live up to your titles on a daily basis, and I'm proud of you.
Thanks.
So, you're just coming over today. We had the day off, so I figured, hey, let's make some content.
Yeah, well, you have the day off. I still have to go in and answer.
This
phone
actually
screen
work
extraordinaire.
right now. This actually work right now for me.
Oh, well then, perfect.
Yeah, you can kind of, and I had to go in earlier, so.
No, okay, it's no big deal. Just go in there, answer the phones, and then leave.
I go in there and edit segments and leave.
Yeah.
So, something that you can learn to do if you wanted.
I know how to do it.
Then do it.
I'm not getting paid to do it. You do it.
You don't have enough time to do it. It's fine. It's not even hard.
I have enough time if they pay me. If you pay me.
But you have to do it before the show starts because you got to put the keywords in. So,
well, if they pay me full time, then I would totally do it.
So what's been going on in the Poundcake world? The stuff that you can't talk about on air that you can get raunchy with. You can say whatever you want on here. Not whatever you want, but you can say fuck.
I don't need to because none of that's happening. There's no fucking happening.
You're not doing anything.
No, these dusty ass dudes around here. It's my own damn fault because I was on Tinder in the midst of a pandemic. I know I was on Tinder, but a bitch was lonely, so I was like, let me see what's out there. Let me see if the dating pool has changed in the slightest, and it really hasn't. If anything, I just assume everyone has a disease now rather than taking a risk on it. But talked to some dudes, And within moments after I said, his name and, he was coming over for a hot tub, sodomite soiree, my roommates were like, no, don't bring him over because.
And that's the last time you were about to go on a date or have anybody over?
Yeah.
And that was like July or something.
Well, the thing is, I was talking to this other dude at the time, so I had options. So it was just so easy for me to blow that guy off. Not literally, but figuratively. So I was just like, okay, well, since he's not cool with my roommates, I'm just going to push him to the side. And then, so the dude I was talking to, I actually went on a date with, and he exchanged, well, I didn't exchange nudes, but he sent me nudes, and I thought things were going to go further, because, you think after you see someone's intimate parts, things are going to happen. And no, we went on one date, the socially distanced date that I wrote about in my Poundcake, and nothing ever came from that. And he said he wanted to go out again, and nothing ever happened.
Did you ever follow up with him, or did you?
Yeah.
And he just didn't come through?
Nope.
Okay, well, that sucks.
I know. I was like, you could almost like do everything right. Like I went on the date. We did not have sex.
Maybe you should have had sex on the date.
But that's what I usually do. I'm like,
why change now?
If I don't feel like there's a connection, I'm like, well, I filled your gut, so I might as well get my. And that hasn't worked out for me in the past. So I was like, let me do something different this time.
I'd say don't go on the date first. I think
smash and get it over with.
Smash, and then see if it's good. And then keep smashing, and then get to know them after a while.
See, I've done that too. Like I have slept with people years before I actually meet them. If that makes sense. Like honestly, I have had sex with someone like years before, and then I meet them. I want to say this was like a year or two ago. So this person I met like freshman or sophomore year of college. Ended up hooking up with them just randomly, and then years later we end up matching on Tinder and we go on a date, and he's sitting there talking to me, and I think he's like dropping hints through the whole conversation, like, oh, like, yeah,
trying to remind you who he was.
Yeah. And he was just like, oh yeah, I lived in such and such in this development. And it was like, oh, you've been there. And
You've been there.
He was like, you've been there before. Like, he was saying the development. I was like, I've never been there before. I don't know anybody there. He's like, yes, you have. He was like, you don't remember. And then he started reminding me. I was just like, oh, yeah, you know what? I remember that day.
I've had moments like that where one specifically, a girl came over one time, and she was super drunk. This is like years ago. And we hooked up, and then like we really didn't have any contact again for a while. But every once in a while, like I would flirt with this other girl. And it turns out it was the same girl. And then, like, eventually I put it all together when she's like, "Do you remember that time?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, I do.
That's a good one."
Yeah.
But see, the other guy, he just jabbed and twisted me because he was like, "Yeah, I don't blame you for remembering because it was kind of unremarkable." I'm like, and I was like, you know what? I'm sure it probably was unremarkable because I was back in my hoe phase. I'm sure it was probably just regular okay sex. He was like, "Yeah, it was okay."
Yeah.
He was like, "It was just." Okay. And then I thought about it. I'm like, I was more upset at the fact that he said the sex was okay than me not remembering him, because I'm like, how many other people did I just have that was in my whole phase? Was all my sex back then just okay?
I feel like hookup sex is usually just okay.
Can you be okay with just okay sex?
Yes, absolutely. Because if you're not, you're happy. That's kind of how I feel. But like, yeah. I feel like when you really like have intimacy with somebody and like get to know them, you can have much better sex than if it's just a hookup.
I've never had intimacy. I've never had making love. I've never had that.
It's overrated. But I'm talking about just knowing each other's kinks and stuff like that, like knowing how they like to be choked, kind of thing.
Chuck me, spank me, pull my hair.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about like connecting with somebody,
lighting candles in a bathtub.
No, that's dumb stuff.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm talking about like, okay, you like your hands tied behind your back. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah. I get that stuff.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of stuff. And then just the comfort you have with that person, where you're not trying to impress them, but you are trying to please them, if that makes sense.
Yes, that does.
Where you're
sense.
not trying to just like bring the pain or anything like that. You're not trying to like knock the bottom. You go, okay, I know how you like this, so I'm going to do it the best way I know how to do it for you.
I think that's my one downfall, because I've been okay my whole life with just these regular hookups, because that's all I've ever known. And once I get like a regular hookup and I'm satisfied with the sex, I'm okay with not having a relationship, because it's like, oh, I'm okay. I'm doing okay in my everyday life, going about my business, and then I could just get casual sex when I want it. And if it's good, it don't matter how he treat me. Homie probably don't have a car. He probably talked about me to his friends about my okay sex. I think it's bomb, but he's probably just like, it's just okay. And then, you know, he doesn't want to claim me in public. But
it also takes two people to have good sex. Like you can't, if he's just saying it was okay, it was okay by him too.
I guess, but like sometimes I'm just really into it because I'm like really attracted to the person. The sex kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah. When it comes to like hooking up with girls too, like there's certain things like going down on a girl is always different because every girl.
I would imagine it's pretty different.
There's like a scale of like or like a spectrum of how they like it. Like some girls like a real light, you know, fluffy type of situation, and some girls like a lot of little bit rougher, and then some girls like it real rough. And some like it to escalate a lot.
And that's the thing.
It's very, you have to have a very immense skill set to be able to do all those different types of it.
And you got to pull out all the stops.
And then you also have to know, like you have to read their body language because they don't tell you.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they do, and I appreciate it when they do, like giving a little tip here and there, you know. But like you read their body language and go off of what you know their body's telling you when you're down there.
I mean, I don't know if I really want to pull out the stops like that.
Well, that's the plight of the man who wants to please a woman.
I know, but I think that's why I get ignored. Like I know a lot of guys who they have had like an ex-girlfriend or whatever, and they see them in public and they ignore them, like they avoid them like the plague. Like you would never know that they used to live in her box. Like, you would never know. And so when you do intimate stuff like that, when you see someone's face and you know that they like, you know, yours, your friends, and a big black dildo up there, you can't look at them the same way.
See, to me, it doesn't matter.
I'm just saying you just can't because you see like the new dude that they're with, and you're just like, you know, he's probably getting all the way. He's getting knuckle deep.
I always wonder, like, if you know, being like, if people are always willing to open up about their sexual kink. Yeah, but I mean, like, because there's a lot of people that they hold back on that because some people just like real vanilla and stuff like that. So I know for a fact that I've had exes that were really bummed out by their next boyfriend because their sex life was just like stick it in and be done.
I honestly feel like my sex is gonna be if my sex is just okay, like in my prime, then I can't imagine what it's gonna be like when I'm like in a committed relationship.
Well,
because
that was your sex with him, though. That doesn't mean all your sex is just okay.
I see that.
You're in your head. He
got in my head.
He did what he wanted to do. He wanted to get in your head, and he's in your head.
He said it was pretty unremarkable. I'm like, really?
Pretty unremarkable is pretty, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I think it takes two to make it remarkable, and if he's not doing his part, then what, you know?
But I feel like I had to get all my sex stuff out of the way because I have a feeling because I'm so far right as far as, you know, I want threesomes. I want to be able to have an open relationship. I want all this stuff. I feel like my partner's going to be the exact opposite of me. Like, no, I want to be committed.
Committed.
And I'm like, I can't get mad at him for one, me and only me. But at the same time, marriage is a lifetime commitment. And I can't say that I wouldn't want on our anniversary, like when we go to Cabo or something, you know, I want to
I like that.
Have sex with the pool boy.
The old, was that guy that just got in trouble, not in trouble, but
Falwell Jr. or something like that.
Yeah.
The president of Liberty University.
Yeah, his.
It's all. I hate it when it's always the stereotypes. I hate it because stereotypes exist for a reason. I get it, but each time they're proved right.
What was the actual situation? Because I just like kind of scanned
He's a cuck.
Okay, so he was he watching it?
He was watching in the corner. So apparently him and his wife befriended their pool boy. And these rich people, I mean, they have probably several estates. So whatever estate it was, they met this guy at the, I think it was like Live in Miami, like Fontainebleau, Miami. He was a pool boy, like professionally for them. And then I guess he started doing professional work once he met this couple. And
like side work for them.
Yeah, he met them when he was 20 years old. So I'm sure he was going over to the estate, driving the golf cart, you know, living the best life. And the wife is just like, you know, me and whatever her husband's name is.
Jerry.
Yeah, me and Jerry get down. And do you like to party? And I'm sure they probably came out with the mimosas and the champagne and probably was putting them on the yacht. And he's like, listen, I don't care if you fuck my wife. As long as I get to watch.
As long as I get to watch.
And what 20-year-old dude who sees these people with money, influence, and he's probably getting his school tuition paid for, and
wonder what his wife looks like.
She's hot. She's not a bad looking woman, but I'm sure they was like caking him. I'm sure he was like their houseboy. He wasn't just a pool boy. He was their houseboy because he apparently, from what I'm hearing, he was like, going on vacations with them, driving their cars.
Okay, so he was like part of the family.
That's what I'm saying. And he all the whole time he slammed your wife in the third input. Yeah, his wife is attractive.
I'm into it.
And I don't believe that every single time he was just watching in the corner fapping. I don't believe that. I think he was like...
He was dabbling?
He was DP... Well, not even that. He doesn't have to do stuff with the guy, but there was definitely some
Eiffel
friction
Tower.
there. Or they're two in the same hole.
You think they're going two dicks in one hole?
Why not? Because he's like, this is my wife, so this is my home. I'm living in her box.
Just the logistics of that are just so ridiculous.
You're coming into a fully furnished house, literally. Yeah, so it's always. This
is by far my dirtiest episode yet.
Sorry, that's what you get with Poundcake.
Yeah, I know what I signed up for.
But yeah, so it's always those low down Republicans. Like, not all Republicans are low down, but it's always the down low Republicans that are always fighting against marriage equality and any type of rights. But yet they still.
And that whole fight over marriage equality, like, being hateful has to be so exhausting.
It is.
Because it's, first of all, it's pretty, like, you don't get a lot of results. Like, you're not stopping any gay people from getting married. You just,
sometimes. I mean, they're trying to get stuff reversed now.
They're trying to, but it's like how, like, and then like, what do you think your reward is going to be? Do you think you're going to die and then go up to heaven and Jesus is going to be like, hey, thanks for not paying attention to what I was trying to say. I said love one another, and you just did all this hate shit, not what I was vibing on. So bam, and he hits that trap door and drop down to, if there's a heaven and there's a hell, there better be a trap door that drops you down to hell. I don't want to get there and then like have to take like a slow elevator. I want that drop.
Well, I don't think you get judged in heaven. I think there's like,
I think you show up
a corridor or something, a foyer where you walk in.
The pearly gates. You show up and then St. Peter checks to see if your name's on the list, and you go up, you're not on the list. Bam, hits a button, and you drop down to hell.
Imagine being a bouncer for heaven. That would be lit. That has nothing on people telling people to wear a mask.
That would be really fun because there's so many people that thought they were doing like a good job, and they're like, all right, I'm going to get right in. And then they're like, oh, not on the list. Sorry, bro.
Leave it to the people. They're like, I can't go to hell. I'm allergic to fire. I can't breathe.
I'm allergic to fire.
I can't do that.
Heat makes my skin break out and my hair will get all frizzy because of all the steam.
I can't go down there. I have a restraining order from my ex-husband, and he's going to be down there with his wife soon. I can't go to hell. You don't understand.
Actually, they're on the list. They're going to make it up in here, so you don't have to worry about that.
What?
Turns out you were the one that ruined the marriage after all. So, sorry. And then you made the kids. You turned the kids against him. Yeah, you're a piece of shit. Go to hell. You are going to hell. Man, that would be a fun game show.
Trap door to hell?
Yeah. Like hell or no hell.
Hell or no hell. The loser gets to burn in a lake of fire for all eternity.
Heaven or hell, the game show.
Some really high stakes. I feel like that's a game board. I feel like that's something, maybe a Ouija board or something.
Yeah. I know there's like been like Sims type games that were like heaven and hell, but I like the idea of going through the judgment process and like if you win, you get into heaven. If you lose, boom, down to hell.
That's a really long meeting. God must have a lot of time because he's just they go through every sin that you've ever done in your entire life, and I done a lot of sinning.
But they don't have to do all of them. They just have to do the ones you didn't repent for, right?
I guess so, but I think
because that's the whole idea. If you do all these awful things.
But can you do like a mass forgiveness? Like I can't. I think
that's why you're supposed to keep going.
I know, but
like on a regular basis, like keep praying. And like I don't think you have to. And this is just how people think about it. But I think if you just continually ask for forgiveness, but then you got to not repeat it too. If you keep doing it again and again,
that can't be true because we're gonna sin again. God knows we're gonna sin.
You're gonna sin again, but I mean, you have to like have that. That
the will to not want to.
You have to have like a contrite spirit, so like will to continue to try not to, and then eventually you you're gonna keep sinning, but you got to keep trying to overcome it. But then there's a lot of people that think that things that they're doing aren't even sins, like hating gay people and trying to stop gay marriage. They don't think that's a sin.
They don't think it's a sin, but they really don't. They think.
But I think if God, if you follow what Jesus says, he'd be like, Yeah, that's not your job.
I mean, I don't know if Jesus would approve of gay marriage, quite honestly. But I don't think he would condemn you to hell for it. Like,
Well, I don't think he would look at it as sin. I mean, he allows free will.
he does allow
So-
free will, but he wants you to turn away from that. So, I mean, I've like fought with this for years. For the longest time, I thought you couldn't be a gay and Christian, but like I learned that's not true, because that would be the same thing as saying you can't be divorced and be a Christian, or you can't.
Well, there's
you
a
know,
lot
have
of people that
tattoo
believe
and
that
be a
too.
Christian.
There's a lot of people that believe all those things. Where, once you're like a certain level of impure, like you can't really
and then
get back.
I mean, then I realized that religion is man-made. Like there is. I rather praise God and Jesus rather than a church, because as we see going through the news, I mean, you see all these pastors and what these reverends and these mega churches are doing, and with the siphoning money and stuff like that. I'd much rather be. That's why I say I'm spiritual.
Yeah, that's
than
a good
religious.
point. I'd much rather run a church than go to a church, because give me that money, give me that paper, give me that.
These
Lord
people are making
paper.
billions.
Yeah.
For some reason, and I don't know why. Whenever I take an edible, like I always want to watch. I want to go through some deep shit. Like, I don't know why, what makes me do that, but I started going through last night the Church of Scientology and like what they do. And there was this guy that was being interviewed, and he was gay and he lives with his husband, and he was talking about how he was an actor and how he for years just got suckered into the Church of Scientology because he thought it would help with his acting career, because you move to LA, you don't know anybody, you get off this bus, and there's only like 3 main casting agencies apparently in LA. And so these Scientology recruiters essentially wait outside the casting agency, and they're like, hey, well, if you want such and such work, and if you want communication skills and acting classes, which are super expensive in LA, by the way, they're like, we can offer all these things to you with all our, $50 classes. And that's how they get you in. And then they were like, oh, if you want to be in a consistent commercial through Scientology, like you'll be through. So a lot of people, they get suckered into that because they think it's something completely different. And by that time, they're blackmailing you, they're extorting you. Like, it's wild what they do.
Man, yeah, that's real skeezy shit. What's their afterlife plan?
I don't know. I didn't get that far because I mainly hear about more so the controversies of the Scientology church than what they actually practice. Because all of them, they make you sign. You want to talk about NDAs don't work? They make them a lot of these people sign NDAs. Like, you're not allowed to talk
Leah
about
Remini's
it.
been sued by them a bunch of times, right?
Who has?
Leah Remini, because she does all these things.
I don't think they can sue her because she's telling the truth.
Right. Well, I think but they can still claim defamation or whatever. I don't know.
It's not defamation. They can breach of contract maybe, but it's a religion. So what religion makes you sign a contract?
All of them, really. I mean, it's a.
No, you can leave a church whenever
It's a
you want
covenant.
to.
You can leave a church whenever you want to, but you also have, like, the idea is that you're signing a contract with God when you join that church.
Yeah.
So even if it's not like on paper or whatever, it's still you're making that covenant.
I wonder what they think of me then, because my church was ran by my stepdad's sister. So it was like my step aunt or aunt-in-law, whatever, step aunt. And like once, she didn't even know the whole gay thing. Like I was hiding that up until I was 17, but we would go there religiously, and especially during religiously, yeah. But like during my dark phase, when I was like trying to pray the gay away, I would go to church by myself, not even like with my family. And I was like going through things, and all of a sudden I just like stopped going.
Now, when you were going through that, because I kind of was in a similar place, not the gay thing, but just like coming to terms with that I wasn't really a believer. But I was in like that dark, depressed place. Did you feel like you were getting comfort, or do you feel like what they were telling you wasn't actually giving you any peace?
It was weird because I felt comforted by the church, and I think it was partly because I was like family there, but they didn't know why I was there. Had I went in there and said like, hey, I'm having these feelings and I'm going through a really dark phase, I don't know if it would be like that. So I still,
so it was just
I
more
felt comforted because
it was more of a distraction.
Yeah, I felt comforted because I was still in secret, but also I was in secret, so I was alone. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, because that's kind of how I felt. Like I didn't feel any real connection to the people that I grew up going to church with, because I felt like it was just a subject or like a product of my circumstance, where I wouldn't even be around you people if if it weren't for my parents.
There's a lot of people like that.
Yeah, so like I didn't, I just was like, I don't want to, and everybody was fake too, because everybody would act like they were all good, and then like all the kids that were Mormons in my area, like, you know, once they were around their school friends and stuff like that, they're all drinking and doing a bunch of dumb shit. So
it always seems like the pastor's child is always the worst one.
Yeah.
Because for some reason they have all the money left over from whatever tithing people do, and so they're going to Italy. They're flying on private jets. Like they're traveling the world, and then they always end up being a drug addict or something.
Yeah, I wish I had been more outspoken about my doubts when I was a kid, because I was very just like, this is what I'm supposed to do, so I'll just go do it, because I didn't want to deal with my parents being upset with me or like trying to convince me. I just was like, yeah. But I remember like a few times my dad asking me what I believe and if I'm, you know, in like a few, you know, lying to him. And then I remember when I finally came clean, it was just like he asked me if I could go to church anymore, and I was like, no. And he's like, do you believe in God? I'm like, no. And he was just like that was the last time we've ever talked about religion.
Wow.
And that was a good, 13, 14 years ago.
Do you feel like there is you never gone through a time where you thought your parents didn't love you? You know they still love you.
Yeah, yeah. But
that's good.
I felt like I always felt like they loved me, but it was also like it still felt a bit conditional. Okay. So like
in the way in which they interact with you?
Yeah, in that it was like, okay, you know, there's just been a wedge between us for a long time because of that, because I can't really be myself around them. Like I love them and we enjoy being around each other, and we can we're all very, it's nice and it's okay, but I can't be full me around them because they don't want to hear swear words and stuff like that. And but I can tone that stuff back. But even just like my opinions on politics and social issues differ a lot from theirs. So it's one of those things where it's like, are we going to argue the whole time, or are we just going to talk about like more base level stuff?
Do your parents listen to the show?
My mom does from time to time.
Is she like disgusted, or do you just let her know like I'm not going to walk on eggshells?
No, she knows she knows who I am. She knows like if I'm going to, I'm going to talk about stuff. Like I try to be respectful of them, but she knows I'm going to talk about whatever I want to talk about and
usually
do what I'm going to do.
Whatever my mom doesn't know, like whatever I don't tell my mom, I end up telling the show, because it's I've always kind of been that way. Yeah. It's far more comfortable to tell a close group of friends, or in this case, our customers, about my life, because their opinion doesn't mean as much. It doesn't mean as much. It's not going to affect my daily life. Like if a friend doesn't like what I'm doing, I stop hanging out with that friend. If the customers don't like what I'm doing, I'll talk about something else. But like when it comes to my mom, I don't want. For the longest time, I could not get over. I didn't want my mom asking me about my sexuality. I didn't want and she knew, but like this was after I came out. But I didn't want her asking. I hated the word partner. For some reason, whenever I heard that word, I would just cringe. I'm like, ugh, partner. And
because then it sounds like you're a detective and you're like trying to solve crimes together.
I just never liked that term. And then now I'm like, oh, I get it. It's not just a life partner. It's just someone who can go through the good times and the bad times and share stuff with.
When I was a missionary, you'd always be like two together, and it was your companion, and that's
I hate that.
Yeah,
I hate that. It's just like boyfriend. It's just a boyfriend, husband, whatever.
It's my companion.
Jump off.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, thank you for coming on the show today, Poundcake.
Thank you for having me.
Follow Poundcake on Twitter and Instagram at RadioCodyB. Check out the Poundcakes on every Thursday on AlanCockShow.com, and listen to us on the Alan Cox Show. And that's all.
Bye.
Right. Hey, everybody. I'm here with this week's Instagram hottie, Rachel. Thank you so much for being this week's Instagram hottie. You're super calm and not nervous at all about this whole thing, and I can tell. So just be yourself.
All right, I'll try.
But be more of yourself.
Okay.
So I was talking with AJ a little bit before he's a regular on this podcast, and he's a friend of yours. And you're friends with other comedians in town, Brian Sternick. You guys all work together, I believe, right?
Yes.
And AJ told me that you are afraid of ketchup.
Yeah, I have a really weird phobia of ketchup. Yeah.
And is it just like something random, or was something happen?
I don't really know. It just I've always been afraid of ketchup, and
like to what degree? We'll move that way. There we go.
Like the smell of it. Like as soon as it hits my nose.
Just so you know, I don't even have any ketchup in my house. I think I have some like ketchup packets, but I'm not gonna like be like, and now here's a bunch of ketchup. I'm not doing that. I just think that's something that's kind of strange, because I have a weird thing like that too, And when I was like in elementary school, at the end of the day, when you put chairs up on the table and like the chairs like sticking straight up, or like at a restaurant, if they do that with the chairs at the end of the night, that makes me so fucking uncomfortable. Like I can't, like I don't like freak out, but I'm just like, I don't like this. I don't want to be around this right now. And it's just an idea like you could like hit your eye on them or something like that. So I don't. How deep does yours go? Like, will you like if I had ketchup right here, would you be like?
It'd be really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I would try my best not to like throw up, but
Okay, so it's like that kind of reaction.
yeah, I will.
So you're disgusted by it, not afraid of it.
Well, even if someone like puts a bottle next to me, even if I can't smell it, I kind of spaz a little bit.
Okay. So what do you dip your French fries in?
Barbecue sauce.
There you go. Which is just
It's
Southern ketchup.
It smells different.
It's a little bit different, but I mean, there's some barbecue sauces that are pretty fucking close to ketchup. So
Yeah, if they look like ketchup, I won't even
you
try
won't even
it.
try it. Oh, so it's got to be a nice dark barbecue sauce. And you probably don't want it to be too sweet or anything, or no, that doesn't matter.
I like
it's more
spicy,
the color.
actually,
You like it more
yeah.
spicy.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's an interesting fact. And you're into vanning?
Yes.
Tell me what the fuck that is.
So we travel a lot in the summer, and we sleep in our van.
Okay. So it's just RVing with vans.
Kind of. I mean, it's a party lifestyle.
Okay. Okay, so it's like, do you follow bands, or do you just kind of travel around to different
There's
events?
different events
Okay.
all around. Like, we go to Canada once a year, and just, like, we know people everywhere. And
Yeah.
hang out in our van. And,
So do you have a van for this, or do you tag along with somebody else?
well, we have a couple of them.
Okay,
so
a
I
couple.
have 66 Chevys.
Okay.
I have my own.
Nice.
Yeah.
And then, and do you do the maintenance on them as well?
Yeah. Mine, I actually am building with my dad.
Oh, that's really cool.
So it doesn't get to go to as many shows.
Yeah.
But
But that's cool. Now, what's your like dream van to travel around in? Is it a Volkswagen? Because I know those have like all like people like those because of like the hippie thing. But I imagine if someone's as deep into it as you are, you know that like that's like a poser van.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dream van would be like mid Chevy, which is in the 70s. And I would love it to be lifted. Just,
Okay, just a little bit.
yeah.
Just a little bit of lift. Like that's kind of when vans were cool, like the 70s. Like if you watch like Dazed and Confused, like you didn't want a truck, you wanted a van, and then you could put a mattress in the back, like make it real comfortable. You could smoke weed back there, and then you had like a little house on wheels where you could get away from your parents, stuff like that. And I feel like that has definitely gone away, and vans have just become kind of it's either soccer moms or creeps. AJ, you're doing a terrible job of distracting the dog. I think he went to smoke.
Or he's talking on the phone.
Yeah. Are you a 200-pound man that can handle a dog or not?
She like won't even let me go near her.
Whoopsie!
She was doing the thing where like
Just get one of her toys and just chase her around.
that's what she's doing.
Come on, go with AJ. Go with him.
Come here. She does that.
No, say. You gotta act like you don't want, like you're trying to get away from
I
her.
gotta be like passive. Like,
Yeah, no, you gotta act like you're trying to get away from her.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm trying to get away from you.
See?
Oh, it works.
I told you. All right. So, vanning. So, what got you into vanning? Is that like something you do with your dad, or is that just something that you've always?
My boyfriend.
Your boyfriend. Okay. So your boyfriend got. How long you been with him?
How long have I been with him?
Yeah.
11 years.
11 years. God damn. How old are you?
29.
29. So you guys have been together since you were 18.
Yeah, 17,
17, 18. Do you guys meet in high school or do you meet
Yeah.
vanning?
Well, we've known each other our whole lives.
Okay. Oh, that's cute. Oh, high school sweethearts?
Kind of.
Kind of. How much older is he? Not? The same age?
Like 3 months younger
Oh
than me.
wow, 3 months younger. Wow, that's very not of the times, because everybody. This is hookup culture, Tinder, all that stuff. People are jumping from relationships quickly. So for you to be with the same dude for 10, 11 years, that's pretty impressive. So good for you.
Thanks.
What's he do?
He is a supervisor for the county.
He's doing a bang up job. This is a good county.
Yeah.
I feel very
He works
supervised.
in the sewer,
I
sewer
feel
department.
Oh yeah, well, if there's one thing that the butthole of the world has going for it, it's the sewer departments. He's actually probably got a headache of a job with everybody being home that had to like cause some sort of weird problems. No?
It's actually been
Pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I didn't know if there was like an increase of people using those wipes that you're not supposed to flush.
Oh, he hates those.
Of course.
Yeah.
Here's a little PSA right now. Don't use the wipes. Get a bidet.
Even if they say flushable.
Yeah,
don't
they're
use
not
them.
flushable. They're not flushable. They don't biodegrade. Not like toilet paper does, and a bidet is the way to go. And eat more fiber. So you don't have to wipe as much. Right?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I guess.
Just throwing some.
If you don't use toilet paper, though, I mean, then they won't have a job, I guess.
No, I'm saying you can use toilet paper. I'm just saying don't use as much so we don't have to be as wasteful.
You gotta clog it sometimes.
Yeah.
You gotta keep them in business.
Yeah, get
A
little more. Well, you're talking, and I like what you're saying, but you just got to project a little bit more.
All right.
So
I'll
because you're
try
kind of
and-
mumbly, and I know you're nervous. Hey, that's AJ was telling me you're pretty shy, but you're into some interesting things. You're afraid of ketchup. You're into vanning, and then we have one shared love, and that's Coheed and Cambria.
Yeah.
How many times have you seen them live?
I don't know.
More than 10?
Yeah.
Good for you. I've only seen them probably about 5 times because many of the years that I wanted to go see them, I was either too broke or I was working on the road. So for like 8 years, I was on the road most weeks or doing stand-up most weeks. And so I just missed concerts like crazy. So I've seen them a bunch of times and they're fucking fantastic. And
Always.
I'm just a big fan.
The one show, actually, you were like kind of by my family.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. They kept taking their wristbands off and like handing them to other
Handing
people.
around, yeah.
Yeah, so they can get more people down in the pit area.
Oh, was that at
Nautica.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that was a good time. That was a very good show. I like that one a lot. And then seen them at the Agora a couple times,
Yeah.
and then House of Blues. So I guess I've seen them 4 times live. And I was supposed to see them in September, but originally October or August.
yeah.
But yeah, but it's 2020, and you don't get to have fun this year.
Yeah.
So that's a
I'm
bummer.
real sad about that.
I'm a big fan of them. I would listen to In Keeping Secrets of Silent Earth 2. That was like I have an hour left, or so I like time it out when I'd be driving home from like gigs, and I need something to keep me awake and keep me like positive, and I'd turn that album on, and then like the time would pass a lot faster. So I've listened to that album about 3 billion times.
Yeah.
It's so good. And then when they played it at the House of Blues all the way through, that was like the
Never
best
Under.
concert. Yeah, that's the best concert I've ever been to in my entire life.
Yeah.
So you're into that. You do some cute pics on Instagram, and that's why you're this week's Instagram hottie. And is there any problem with your boyfriend? Does he get upset about that stuff?
He doesn't
Not the
care.
jealous type.
No.
Good for him. That's you know what that is? Security. He's got confidence. God damn it, dog. So that's good. All right. Well, I think we're gonna keep this one pretty tight today because But
All right.
thank you so much. And anything you want to plug, or you want to tell people to drive vans or something?
Yeah, go drive Vans.
Go drive vans. All right. That's all. Thanks.
This is the Bill Squire Show.